Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to another episode of Cozy Cooldown. This is a show where we take a little break from life and cool down with a cozy game demo. This week, are you emotionally prepared for a beautiful tale about a woodworker struggling to accept the passing of his wife? Well, I sure hope so, because this week we'll be playing Pine, A Story of Loss from Made Up Games with publisher Fellow Traveler. And without further ado, let's jump straight into this demo. Sound design. I love the birds. That was well done. Good transition. Oh, is this gonna make me cry? Oh, there it is. There we go. Finding all the pine cones. The music shift, the lighting change. Very well done. It's a big old pile of wood. Pine. Okay, so we have seasons. All right. Spring. Oh, so I guess we got like 3 things to do. So click on one. Okay. Gameplay is quite simple, but I think that will work for this sort of game where the main priority, is the story. Try it out for the roof. Next day. All right. It's a guy going through the motions. I would say. Wait, I need more room. Oh, I see. I gotta find where it'll drop. Interesting. Brought another bucket so we can go back to it. Don't forget the bucket. We can just kind of chill here if we wanted to. On the serene nighttime cabin. Next day we'll try a different order. See what happens. Oh, you don't actually even need to click. I can just move it. What I just learned. An inchworm. This is fun. Like the puzzle. There we go. Nailed it. See, right as I think it's getting too monotonous, they mix it up. It's so far well paced. To still make you feel the monotony of his life right now, and not get bored. Yeah, you don't have to click it all. You can just swipe. Swipe. Yeah, no, all this diegetic sound is so good. Like the sound of the woods, the critters, birds. All right, today we're going to do things in opposite order. See what happens. Getting crazy. Oh, never mind. Apparently I do not get to decide today. Interesting. Oh, I didn't do opposite order. I got thrown off because it did the one on its own. Oh. He was like so serene. I'm just really intrigued to see if I cry or not. Oh, okay. Now he's doing this task by himself too. Okay, go to the water. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm very intrigued. Okay, auto do the hay. Auto do the cucumbers. Assume that's what those are. Could be zucchinis, maybe? Okay, water we still gotta do. What was the third memory? Oh, okay. Ooh. How focused up you. Very forgiving because I've not been dead on these. Nailed that last one though. Nailed that. Ooh, okay. Oh. Oh God, I'm not qualified for this. Oh, is it gonna make something on its own? I just have to get to it. I see. Okay, I was like, hope I'm not shaping it to be anything too special. What's it gonna be? People who are actually like woodworkers like this and use like this massive axe to like make these intricate designs are insane. It's incredibly impressive. All right, trying to be a little bit more efficient now, even with loudness happening in the background.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ruining our serene moments. Getting those final details now. There we go. We did it. Yeah, there's definitely ways to do that faster than I did. Well, there we go. Coming soon. Pine, A Story of Loss. Let me get my face out the way. There, that was special thanks to our incredible Kickstarter backers. Woo, look at that. And that was the demo for Pine, A Story of Loss. It was a quick demo, just a little under 30 minutes is how long it took me to complete it. And what I saw so far, though, I quite enjoyed. I think that the full game will probably make me cry. That's a prediction I have. But I think that the story was really well told so far, you know, because it is just him, like he's going about his life, and then just, you know, everything around him reminds him of her. And so you get these flashbacks, you get these memories, and I think that they were, you know, again, this was a short demo, but in this demo, they were really well paced out to where, you know, the day-to-day tasks are fairly monotonous, fairly, you know, repetitive. And So right as like they would be like, okay, like right as I was starting to think, I'm like, all right, how much longer? Like if I started to have an inkling of that thought, it'd be like, mix it up. Let's do something else. Oh, the water's not working. Oh, you have this memory of planting the garden, and then you get to do this fun little different puzzle. You know, there was these little tiny bits and bobs just like thrown in to make sure that you did not get bored, and it worked. Now this demo was just under 30 minutes, but I could definitely see myself playing this for longer, especially if it maintains the pacing that it had in this demo. I could see myself getting lost playing this for a very long time. The art style in this one was still really beautiful. I do wish that the whole thing was kind of like the more drawn effect that he was, and like the interactable items were, instead of some of like the background was more like, it was a different art style, you know, it was more just kind of like generic, and for lack of a better word. It still looked really beautiful, like those wide shots of the house and those beautiful transitions, you know, from each day. It still looked really great, but just a personal preference, I think I would have liked more of that drawn art style. However, it did do a really good job of just drawing your eye to what you're supposed to be looking at and supposed to be interacting with. Like even in that opening sequence, as we pan through the trees, the second that other tree came up, it's like, oh, what's going to happen with that tree? You know, it immediately lets you know that you're doing something. So there is definitely a place for it. And so it's not like a actual critique, it's just a one thought I had. The score was really beautiful. I think that, you know, how it switched up from when it was him to in the flashbacks, the different tones that they had were a really good job to create that kind of separation alongside the lighting changes that they had. It just, you know, you could really see the difference, and you could feel the difference between the two moments, even with no dialogue and, you know, it being very like slow moving and simple. You could feel it, and that's why I definitely think I'm gonna cry if I play the full game. Then alongside the score were the diegetic sounds. So obviously we're in the middle of the woods, and there are all these sounds of critters and birds, and it just sounds gorgeous all the time. Like it feels like you're out in nature, which I think definitely adds to the kind of calm feel of it, but it's not quite calm because it also has that kind of edge of sadness to it. I think that the way that the score is, plus the mannerisms of the main character, while they're very subtle, just like that slight hunch, the slowness, just the overall feel of it, like you can feel that he is going through the motions, even again without any dialogue, without any like, you know, nothing really telling you that. It's being shown so beautifully. And then again with those flashbacks and his little expressions afterwards, they're all very simple, but they do a beautiful job of telling you exactly how he's feeling in a way that is easy to empathize with. That's how you say that. The gameplay itself was also extremely simple. You know, it was literally just moving the mouse. I thought I had to click even at the beginning, but I didn't even need to do that. It was just a movement of the mouse or a click of the mouse, depending on what you were doing. I think that simple is a really good word to describe a lot of this, both with the art style, you know, the story, how it's going, the gameplay. It's all so far been very just bare bones, but in a very effective way. Like, again, that is not a negative. I think it actually really works in the favor of what they're trying to do here, which is, you know, kind of evoke those emotions. And there's different ways to do that. You know, some people like to go really complex, throw everything you can at it, show and tell, do it all. And sometimes that can also be effective, you know, depending on how it's utilized. But I think that this way of doing it in such a simple and elegant way really works for the story. Like, as I was saying earlier, I could feel the emotions of this character despite only playing for 27 minutes, and, you know, literally there were no dialogue, and I still knew everything that's happening. And, like, you know, he didn't have any, you know, crazy animations on his face, but the really simple, subtle, like the change in the lines, the change in his eye shape, mouth, you know, expressions that he did, they were all so effective. They showed the emotions in a way that were easy to identify and easy to understand for me. And it just made it even more effective, I think, having it be that simple. To be clear, simple does not mean that not a lot of work was put into this. There is definitely a lot of care and effort put into every single frame to allow it to still have such an impact while still appearing simplistic. I think that it is definitely all intentional, it is all purposeful, and it all leads towards the overall goal of the game, which I am really looking forward to seeing how that progresses as you continue to play and as you reach, the final conclusion of it, and learn more about their story. I'm genuinely intrigued to see what happens because I already feel a bit of a connection with this character just from this brief time with him, and I think that it would be a really lovely thing to see how the rest of the story plays out. And it was just so effective in this brief demo that I just know it's going to be really effective in the full one. Like, it would be very surprising to me if it missed the mark whenever playing the full game. Now, it can always happen, but I would be extraordinarily surprised. And that's all I'm going to say for now about the Pine, A Story of Loss demo. The demo is available now on Steam if you would like to play through it yourself and see what you think about the gameplay mechanics. And the full release date is still TBA. So make sure to wishlist it on Steam if you have any interest in it so that you'll be notified whenever the full one is released. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Cozy Cooldown. We are now halfway through this first season, but there are still a few episodes left to go, so make sure to subscribe to see when the next part comes out. And if you enjoyed, also be sure to hit that like button below to let me know. And if you have any suggestions for other cozy demos I should check out in this season or future ones, make sure to leave them below in the comments. Thanks again for watching, and as always, have a good night, a good morning, and a damn good time. Bye!